Muy buenos días y bienvenidos a este segundo Congreso Kosmopolitis, cuyo tema es Liderazgo, impacto en mí, impacto en mi entorno. Les doy la más cordial bienvenida a nuestros directores, docentes, administrativos, apoderados, miembros de nuestra comunidad escolar, así como a directores, rectores, jefes técnicos y a otros profesionales de las instituciones educacionales invitadas y muy especialmente a los alumnos líderes tanto de otros colegios como del nuestro. Este año decidimos elegir un tema contingente a explorar, como es el liderazgo, e invitamos a exponentes de diferentes disciplinas a aportar con distintas miradas y definiciones para comprender cuáles son las condiciones que se tienen que dar o qué competencias debemos desarrollar para ejercer un liderazgo efectivo en algún momento de nuestras vidas. Nuestro fundador, el señor John Jackson, tuvo la visión de formar un colegio que brindara una educación integral, dando énfasis al desarrollo armónico y completo del individuo, incentivando la excelencia y la integridad en el desarrollo intelectual, moral, artístico, deportivo y social de los alumnos. Su liderazgo fue fundamental para crear este proyecto educativo y armar un buen equipo de colaboradores con el objetivo de formar líderes que constituyeran un aporte para la sociedad. Y porque también estamos centrados en el desarrollo de estas destrezas y habilidades en los profesionales que trabajan acá en nuestro colegio, el tema de este congreso surge en Grange Academy y colaboran activamente en la organización de este evento distintos actores de nuestra comunidad, a quienes agradecemos que este congreso sea posible. Dicho esto, los invito por favor a apagar sus celulares y les tengo que entregar una información importante por protocolo de seguridad. No se asusten. En caso de sismo fuerte, por favor quédense en sus asientos y esperen instrucciones de salida del recinto. Las vías de evacuación son estas dos puertas de adelante y la puerta principal de atrás. Para comenzar esta jornada, el coro y el conjunto instrumental del Senior School interpretarán el himno nacional, acompañados por el pianista Sebastián Camaño, bajo la dirección del profesor Felipe Ramos. A continuación interpretarán el himno de nuestro colegio. Los invito por favor a ponerse de pie.
Y tu campo de flores bordado es la copia feliz del Edén. Majestuosa es la blanca montaña que te dio por baluarte el Señor, que te dio por baluarte el Señor. Y ese mar que tranquilo te baña te promete futuro esplendor, y ese mar que tranquilo te baña te promete futuro esplendor. Dulce patria, recibe los votos, porque Chile sus alas juró. Tumba serás de los libres,
El señor Benaman nace en Francia, hijo de padre árabe y madre francesa. Inicia sus estudios en dicho país para posteriormente continuar en el Reino Unido en forma parte de la escuela militar, egresando con el rango de mayor de reserva. Más tarde ejerce como profesor y director de estudios en el Colegio Wellington de Berkshire, dictando la asignatura de lenguas modernas por 11 años. En 1993 es nombrado rector en el French Lycée de Londres y en 2000 se traslada a Brasil, en donde ejerce como rector del Colegio St. Paul's de San Pablo por un periodo de 8 años. En 2001 obtiene el reconocimiento de Chevalier dans l'Ordre des Palmes Académiques, otorgado por la República Francesa, y en 2002 recibe la distinción de Cavaliere Ordine dei Santi Maurizio e Lazzaro, entregada por el Ducado de Saboya. Desde el año 2008 a la fecha se desempeña como rector de nuestro colegio, The Grange. Entre sus hobbies destaca disfrutar con sus hijos, trotar y aprender idiomas, dominando más de 5. Con ustedes el señor Rashid Benaman.
Buenos días y bienvenido en nuestro segundo Congreso Educacional Kosmopolitis, Liderazgo, Impacto en mí, Impacto en mi entorno. Con este título, y ante la triste y pronta partida de nuestro querido Rafita el día de ayer, después de 52 años de dedicación y lealtad a nuestro colegio, aún tratando de asumir que ya no contaremos con su presencia física entre nosotros, con gran emoción me ha parecido pertinente dedicar este discurso a la memoria de don Rafael Farfán. Un aplauso, por favor. Just a few days after the referendum on the Brexit, Her Majesty the Queen remarked at the opening of the Scottish Parliament that the hallmark of leadership in such a fast-moving world is allowing sufficient room for quiet thinking and contemplation, which can enable deeper, cooler consideration of how challenges and opportunities can be best addressed. This from Queen Elizabeth, who has devoted close to 65 years to a leadership role bestowed upon her quite unexpectedly. Her Majesty would probably be the first to admit, though, that being appointed leader is one thing. Exercising leadership effectively and retaining the position is quite another. I do not quite know if any of our guests will touch on the gender gap in leadership. They should. I shall not. But on this, the 45th anniversary of co-education at the Grange School, call it age, experience, or tedium, I increasingly trust women in power more than men. I expected an applause there. Their focus, integrity, and judgment always seem to give me much higher level of confidence in their decisions. My apologies, therefore, if the masculine is used in this text. It is pure convenience on my part and grammatical correctness. As to my presence here, well, those in leadership positions are not always the best placed people to analyze what makes good leadership. And no two leaders have the same profile or use the same toolkit. I shall therefore confine myself to being the host today. Over the last 3 days, and until the weekend, over 80 guests have accepted to speak, run workshops, outings, and colloquia on this subject, and I am deeply grateful to them all, as I am to the many colleagues who have given so freely of their time to organize this event. My only qualification for speaking here today I owe to those who had faith in my intentions and appointed me to various posts. And to my parents, of course, who had the good sense of calling me Rashid, which in Arabic means leader. Countless management coaches and practitioners have devoted energy to defining the essential qualities and key ingredients that make for good leaders. in such fields as the political, the military, sporting, spiritual, religious, business, social, academic or artistic worlds, or indeed quite simply in one's professional and personal lives. With this Congress, I am to hear the views and advice of a number of leaders whom we trust on this subject, and attempts very modestly to draw my own conclusions with regards to our own lives, our work and relationships. We look forward to hearing of how to become positive leaders and whether leadership is a God-given talent or a skill. For my part, I shall stick here to what I know a little about, which is education, schools in general, and the Grange in particular. We all agree that some people seem to have a natural gift to be leaders. However, this talent requires skills to be worked on and practiced. Comparing this to hockey or rugby, for example, there is no doubt that some youngsters show natural aptitudes that predispose them to being good players. Size, an eye for the ball, speed, etc. But good training will develop youngsters into top players and teach them to build on their strengths and compensate for their weaknesses. The same, it seems, applies to leadership. These aptitudes include, amongst others, vision, strategic thinking, motivation, interpersonal communication, emotional intelligence, generosity, subject knowledge, and a strong desire to serve. Leadership development strategists have an awful lot to consider if they are to help both current and potential leaders to build on these strengths. But what do leaders themselves have to say about their own personal development? What key events marked their paths leading up to or during the exercise of leadership? What strategies did they use? How tough is it to stay at the top? I'm keen to know about characters considered as having high leadership potential, but didn't quite live up to expectations. What held them back? I'm also keen to know the differences there would be between Stalin and Mandela, or between Hitler and Gandhi. Whatever the answer, I have no doubt that to be a positive leader is a personal decision and a matter of will, and that strong values should come before innate skills, or those which can be developed. Professional coaches talk of models of leadership learning based on, I quote, the cognitive, behavioral, relational strategies used by leaders to upgrade their leadership capital. I never came across that one as I got my first leadership post. But here we discover that the leader needs to be clear about his mission in life. He needs to know what he wants, to have a thorough understanding of the world in which he lives, and a vision for the world he aspires to. The modus operandi, to create an inspiring vision for the future, to think strategically and manage the delivery of the vision. This means motivating and inspiring people to engage with that vision, building and coaching a team effectively at achieving this vision. The leader needs to ooze enthusiasm in his day-to-day life. He must be optimistic and give out a positive aura, taking advantage of every opportunity, going where there is no path and leaving a trail. He must give generously, be a good listener, and empower those around him to share his vision. He must show confidence, control his fears, and build up relationships so as to be a point of reference for his colleagues or followers. He must be an enabler and an innovator, a source of inspiration. His collaborators must feel valued, party to the project, and also invested in the outcome. Leaders are credible, and their position results from the fact that others want to follow them of their own free will. Top leaders constantly form leaders amongst their followers, and from my experience, I would venture to say that you know you have a budding leader on your team when he or she brings you a problem together with a plausible solution. As a leader, you will need to free yourself from conformism and think outside the box. Take full advantage of what confidence you are given by others. Develop thick skin. Build on your knowledge of your core business. Reach for influential people or opinion makers and keep flexible, able to admit mistakes, and act. But act responsibly and honestly. True leadership is based on sound values and, most importantly, fair play. The leader must occupy the moral high ground, adhering to and upholding universally recognized standards of justice and goodness. People seeking the moral high ground simply refuse to act in ways which are not viewed as legitimate and morally defensible by society at large. The notion that doing well is accomplished only at the expense of doing good must be challenged. Honest individuals and organizations can succeed, even in highly competitive environments, because their commitment to principles makes them more attractive as trading partners. You will all know, of course, that the notion of fair play is central to our educational project here at the Grange. It is a universally understood concept which underpins sports, of course, but goes beyond the game's fields and includes all aspects of our lives as citizens, professionally or not. Fairness is essential to any positive vision of life's purpose. Fair play is also philosophy, one of respect for others and, in our case, respect for the institution. It leads to an agreement between all those involved on the values and lessons that we want to teach our children and ourselves. Playing fair has to do with making choices. As we interact with each other, we must regularly consider and define what we think is right and what is not. School should be all about a collective effort to pursue human excellence. As our children interact with each other, their ability to make good choices about fair play issues matures along with their ability to think and learn about what makes for a rewarding and fulfilling life in society. As in all human endeavors, the leader must be clear as to where he is and where he wants to get to before deciding in a cool-headed manner, and we're back to Her Majesty the Queen, on methods to achieve this. Some consider the glass half full and others half empty. I have absolutely no doubt as to where the leader stands on this one. Positive thinking, a positive image, and confidence in the project, product, concept, institution, or whatever are essential. Problems there will be. The key is to know how to tackle them. Being clear about the future and the world of opportunities out there is fundamental, and so is risk-taking. Living in the past or being burdened by the present are real obstacles to sound leadership. Reminiscing about a golden past, which often never existed, or worrying about present headaches is time-consuming and uninspiring. Vision is the key word. Leaders can and do change the world. Leadership is a skill which can be learned and improved upon. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Use your former to the full and work on the latter. With a coach, perhaps, but certainly with a lot of honest introspection. Know yourself. The essence of leadership is the ability to convince people who are not necessarily from your circle or subordinate, those people who stand outside your comfort zone and are even, perhaps, your contenders. This requires knowledge, manners, and credibility. I happened to jog past the Lycée Militaire de Saint-Cyr when I was on holiday in France last month. That's the Escuela Militar. And was surprised to, but hugely encouraged to see that their motto read, "The true school of leadership is general culture. And indeed, using discernment, being recognized as able, learned, and wise, even by your enemy, is essential to winning battles. Forming all-rounders from an early age is key to a solid education and pays high dividends throughout our pupils' lives. At the root of leadership are therefore engagement, conviction, knowledge, trust, humility, courage, and humanity. Whenever I interview teachers, who are of course all leaders, for the first time, I like to ask them if teaching is an art or a science. The answer is both, of course. Leading is an art. It reflects your persona, but it also requires hard work and thorough mastery of your subject matter. Leadership is intimately linked to the reality and experience of the leader, his character, and the confidence he inspires in others. He must have the ability to leave a deep print in the others. Literally, he must impress. Leadership will be disruptive to the organization, to those who need to get on with their day-to-day tasks and are asked to embark on an uncharted voyage. The learning curve can be a real challenge. Having said this, I sincerely believe that the great leaders are those who emerged from the rank and file, have experienced the nuts and bolts of the organization, have worked in the engine room, have both knowledge of and empathy for every layer of the hierarchy, and speak their language. And so much for those technocrats and other paper specialists parachuted into positions of responsibility with little feel for the people or local culture, or indeed any passion for the subject. Advertisers have long understood it. You no longer buy a product, you buy a story, somebody else's story that you would dearly like to make your own. There is the main talent of the leader, convincing with sincerity and from personal experience. The man in the street works on and from reality, his daily reality. The leader, with his head, his heart, and his guts, works on a world of future possibilities, based, of course, on here and now, but full of promise for the future. Creating new challenges, strategies, and skills is the motor. A tall order in a society thriving on historical key performing indicators. The transformational leader will share with others, will enjoy closeness with his peers, will create cohesion, and will make sure successes are shared with the others. In his public address, the good leader avoids at all costs the personal pronoun I, favoring the pronoun we. I do hope I have not bored you to tears with this exposé so early in the morning. Charisma is indeed sine qua non with the notion of leadership. On this note, let me finish with my companion and mentor, old Rudyard. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is more, you'll be a leader, my son. So there you have it. I shall now leave you in the much more capable hands of our guest speakers. Suffice it to say that from where I stand, if you are an all-rounder, if you exercise fair play, if you show good manners, if you think like a team player, and if you are driven by a spirit of service, all this stands you in very good stead to become an outstanding leader. Thank you very much indeed.
Una carta en flora se detiene en la capilla, el cura salió al entrar, diciendo qué maravilla, diciendo
cuando estaban de rodillas, gonna make a change for once in my life.
It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right.
As I turn up the color on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
I see the kids in the street, with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top,
And a one-man soul.
they follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man
got to stop it yourself.
Yeah, make that